Chance here, a great save by Turner from the clear. A terrific goal by Sheridan.
Pressman against Jones. Get in.
You could have two goalkeepers in there that would have trouble with saving that.
Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and a very warm welcome to the Wednesday Week, the Sheffield Wednesday podcast. I'm Lord Hillsborough, and on the line with me this evening, first of all, we have Victoria, my darling. How the chuff are you?
I'm all right, my lord. How are you?
Just all right, Vic. That's not like you. You're normally fabulous.
No, I'm a bit confused this week, my lord, because I seem to have lost my negative side of things, and I seem to be getting a little bit too positive for my own liking. So I'm just trying to calm myself down. I know. I'm trying to calm myself down, get myself ready for this podcast, and just try not to be too rose-tinted.
Well, luckily, we are in the company of Dickie this evening, so no doubt by the time we've finished, we'll all be negative again. Dickie O'Bean, how the chuff are you, my friend?
I'm very well, thank you very much. I'm just getting over from discharging my weapon over the weekend.
Ding dong. May I ask which weapon you have been discharging, old boy?
A shotgun weapon, of course. What did you think I was discharging?
I can't possibly think. I can't possibly think.
I was on a stag do, and yes, we went shooting, and I was the only one to hit two clays with one bullet. Bang! Boom!
Is that something wrong with
twins?
Nobody else did it. Out of 24 of us, it was only me. You know, can't turn it off.
Brilliant, love it. Right, well, it's just us three. We're having a bit of a change around this podcast. I've been away for a few weeks, and obviously James has been here. Now he's not, and it's lovely. It's snuggly. We've got strength in depth on this podcast, ladies and gents. Strength in depth.
That's reasonable.
Right. So first things first, let's have a little natter about the Cardiff game, shall we, boys and girls? Because of course, Mr. Warnock, Vic's most favourite man in the entire world.
I love him.
Colin Wanker.
Oh, bless him. Now, I don't want to like him. I really don't, because it's Colin, and it is. And I do like to jolly take the mess out of him. But it's difficult not to, because he's nasty in such a lovely way, isn't he? Bless him. He's like an awful old granddad who's racist, basically, isn't he? But he's racist against Sheffield Wednesday. Bless his little cotton socks. Love him to bits. Obviously, we'll come on to this in a bit more depth recently, but did you guys see that little video when they scored their goal?
No, I don't think I have, actually.
Oh, have a little look back at the Lord Hillsborough Twitter feed, and he did this wonderful jumping celebration and thoroughly enjoying himself, and then all of a sudden he found 20 pence on the floor and seemed far more interested in that than he did about a goal going in. Bless him. Oh,
you
honestly.
can take the bloke out of Sheffield, can't you?
Love him.
I've seen a great video on Twitter this evening doing the rounds where he turns up in a. Actually, I think it was Cardiff's official Twitter that put it out, where he turns up in his white. Is it the tractor one? It's not a tractor, but he's turned up in his white convertible old car and just gets out of it, and it's just the weirdest kind of thing I've ever seen.
Oh, that was when they announced him as the manager, wasn't it? That was like their announcement video. It was just brilliant. He is just comedy gold, and like, to be fair, from the times that I've met him, it's only been briefly. We used to go to the same hairdresser. And I've had dealings with him. I've seen him. I know. Good old Capelli's on Hunter's Bar.
Did he go in for a rinse and set?
But do you know what?
Same hairdresser. What?
I know. It's not to brag about, but same hairdressing salon, not the same hairdresser. Look at my hair. To be fair, it could be the same hairdresser.
Have you seen the state of his hair, though?
Have you seen the state of mine, pal? But I think he does come across as he is the type of bloke that the media team will have suggested that video to him, and he will have thought it would be the funniest thing to record, and that is why I love him. I just do. I think he's one of those classic football managers that we're lacking now. We don't have Cloughie anymore. We don't have those kind of managers, and he is one. He really is, and I do love him as much as he hates us, and that makes me love him even more.
Oh, bless his little cotton socks. Good old Colin, what we're doing at him. But certainly, obviously, on to the game itself, boys and girls. So when the team was announced, again, it was a very unchanged team for Carlos, wasn't it? Again, Westwood, Hunt, Lees, Jews, Padil, obviously popping back into the squad. Lees, Jones, Bannon, Reach in midfield, and of course Hooper, Fletcher up front. Now, this sort of keeping this team together, do you think this is something, I mean, we've not really seen it from Carlos before, have we? And this is that sort of, again, where this team has been there, if you like. I mean, do you think that Carlos is starting to enjoy keeping the same team, or do you think we're just going to see lots and lots of changes again?
I think it's something we needed to for a long time, and I've said it numerous times in the last few weeks on the podcast. But yeah, it does bring in a bit of continuity to the team. It's not a bad thing in my opinion. Yeah, 1 or 2 changes every game, I'm all right with that. You might need an injury here or there, or a change of some kind of, somebody to man mark somebody or whatever. But we've needed it for a long time, and I'm finally glad that we're getting that continuity through the team, and it seems to be paying dividends.
It certainly seems to be working, doesn't it? Sorry, Vic.
Sorry, I was just going to say, the thing is with continuity, like we had probably 3 or 4 years of continuity before under awful managers. And don't get me wrong, Carlos has got a lot to prove, although he is, don't get me wrong, this season he's starting to really prove himself again. We've had the best start ever, blah, blah, blah. But I think we've had seasons before where we've had continuity, and it's been continuity of absolute dross. And how nice is it now to have continuity of a really, really good team? And I'm sure we'll get onto it in a bit, my lord, when we talk about Sunday's game. But we were talking about the team then in our group chat, and I think the continuity now, oh my God, you would take one of those over the previous 11, wouldn't you?
Yeah, you're right. It's a difficult one. I mean, obviously, we shall cross that bridge slightly later as well. But at the moment, I mean, it's really difficult because the team is playing beautifully. I mean, Jost, what have we decided to call him now? I said it rhymes with toast, doesn't it? Again, obviously, they come up with these beautiful, beautiful foreign-sounding names, but we're in Yorkshire, boys and girls, so we'll just call him Jost.
Right? The thing is with that, normally we get a player like Nuhue and they had to ask him how to pronounce his name, and he was like, "Oh, it is Nuhue. It is how it is spelled." Blah blah blah. And everyone still calls him Nuhue. But with Yost, as we all call him, we try and call him like the proper foreign-sounding name. Because actually, it's Yost.
Yost.
Crap. That's crap. Call him Yost. Yost. It just sounds a bit more foreign and a bit more exciting, doesn't it? I don't want to call him Yost, as in toast.
It's like calling you Vuk, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's Victoria, as opposed to Victoria. Yeah, it's like, let's mix it up a bit. Let's be excited about it. Don't call yourself Yost. It's Yost.
But whatever the chuff his name is, he had a brilliant game against Cardiff, didn't he? He really, really did. I am so excited about this boy. I really, really am, because he is essentially still a boy. I don't mean that to sound condescending and awful, but he just seems to have got everything, doesn't he? He's got that the ball at his feet is so comfortable. Obviously, there was that beautiful pass that he sent out to Fletch, and Fletch brought it down on his chest marvellously, and then the shot just went a bit ski with. But if that had gone in, that would have been goal of the season. It was brilliant, absolutely wonderful.
He could pick out a shot, couldn't he? Blindfolded it in the middle of a warehouse, and he could pick out a shot. He is unbelievable at picking out a cross, and we've seen that in 3 games is it now that he's played for us, like in the first team, and obviously Rich, you saw him in the under-23 / whatever they're called. But he is outstanding, and he's made one mistake, and one mistake I think on your debut is acceptable. It's okay, we won anyway, so it don't matter. But he is just unbelievable, and I think we were talking about the other week, and we're saying it costs £4 million. Blah, blah. So yeah, but that's what you get now for £4 million. We've got to stop looking at free players or loan players, or they've been released from Crystal Palace, we've got them on a free. That's not great. This kid, we've bought him in for big money and we're expecting big things, and he's already over-proving himself big time.
Oh, absolutely. And sorry, Rich.
I think, sorry, like I said, I saw him under 23s, and you could tell that day, even though it's, kind of a bit more downbeat game to what he's been used to in the last 3 games, you could tell he's touched end some of the passes that he was putting over the midfield to the strikers, and yeah, I really like this guy, and getting to where I think he'll be a centre half with Wednesday for a while to come, unless he plays too well, and then the Premier League boys will come shouting.
How long have we got him for, out of interest? Do you guys know?
That's probably something we should have looked up before we started speaking to him. I would assume that
I guess it's 3 years at least.
I would imagine it'd be 3 or 4, because it seems that everybody's coming in on a long-term contract at the moment. We are.
I think it was a 4-year contract, I think.
Yeah, there's very few actual players leaving Sheffield Wednesday Football Club at the moment, isn't there? We are not a selling club at the moment, and obviously we've seen that the players that are already here have got lovely long-term contracts and things like that, which is marvellous in my opinion. And I mean, this chap is only, what is he, 23, something like that? It's just and it's not just his ball at the feet as well. I mean, there was such a fantastic tackle running back in the actual area, slid, ball out the way, carried on, everybody were happy, and it was just brilliant, absolutely fantastic. I can't believe it. I really can't, because we've been waiting for this centre back for such a long time, and then you get to the point where you think, oh, they're just going to get somebody in to shut the fans up, basically. But this chap has been well worth waiting for, hasn't he? He really has. And I think he really fits in with what Carlos wants as well. Obviously, it looks as though Carlos wants us to play the ball from the back, and he's chuffing good at doing that as well. And he wasn't the only one that had a good game, it has to be said. I thought, I can't really pick out a terrible player on the day. One little thing, though, is Lee on the left. Obviously, Kieran Lee's come back in. We saw what he did first game back when he was playing in the middle. On the left, he just looks a little bit unsure, maybe. Am I wrong about that?
No, that's not his position, is it really? It's he's better in the centre there. But it's like I say, sometimes you have to juggle the kind of the formation to suit your, not to suit your opponents, but to tackle your opponents. And I guess that's why he was there then.
Yep, fair enough, absolutely. And the other thing I would like to give a shout out, again, I've missed the last few weeks, but Mr. Reach, is it just me, or has he become rather good rather quickly?
I love him. I want to cook him some tea, and I want to make him a cup of tea, and I want to, he's just so cute, isn't he? And he's so good now. I was one of his biggest critics, if not his biggest critic last season. I really was, because I just didn't see where that £5 million had gone. But do you know what? Actually, this season, so many players are really proving themselves, especially over the last couple of games. You know, it's been, we've not lost, and we've done okay, but it has been a bit meh. But it's finally starting to pick up. This is what I mean about the rose-tinted spectacles. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's Adam Reach. Maybe it's his Instagram with no shirt on. But
maybe it's that bottle of vodka.
I wish. It's not payday for like a week. No to the booze. But yeah, he has completely come out of his shell. Like the last few games, he has just been outstanding. And I think it helps when you've got people like Bannon back to the best, and you've got Hunt back to it. Well, better than his best that we've ever seen. Let's be honest. You know, he's a completely different player to what he's ever been. And we've got Yost at centre half, and we've got a really good spine of a team now, and I think that is going to help players like Reach. It's going to help players to look better, and he is just looking brilliant. He runs his arse off every single match, doesn't he? He is just unbelievable. How he is not like carried off at 90 minutes, I have no idea.
But no, I mean, the game as a whole I was very happy with. Obviously there was that disappointment at the end. Was it a foul? Yeah, I think it was. Was it offside? Possibly, but what can we do? It's just a shame that Butterfield gave away that foul. I mean, obviously that's the first time we've sort of seen him properly on the pitch for a bit. It was only on for 5 minutes, turned into 10 after the extra time, if you like. And it's just such a shame, because it would have just been nice just to shut Colin up for a bit, wouldn't it? Bless him, because they've got on thinking, to be honest, still not beat me.
I was stood in a bar in Henley on a stag do, and I was getting a little bit giddy, and 1-0 up. Yeah, this is done and dusted, this 95th minute, and there was a couple of us. The stag, he's a Wednesday fan as well. He was gutted as much as I was. But hey, we carry on drinking. I forgot it all.
You got drunk, shotguns, and Wednesday had a goal scored against them in the last sort of dying seconds of the game. That would have been a very different stand-do.
And the purple turtle in Reading Town Centre. That was interesting.
I don't want to know. I apologise, Dickie.
I tell you what. I got ID'd in there as well, which was like, I'm 45 and I got ID'd.
Sod off.
Come on,
no, you
get in. No, I got ID'd.
Because they thought you looked a bit dodgy. Honestly.
Well, that could have been it. But hey, either way, I'm all right with that. Of course you can see my ID, sir.
You still got a paper driving licence for it.
It was a driving licence. Luckily, I got it. I wasn't expecting to be asked for my ID ever. I thought I'd been past those years.
This was the chap that didn't get ID'd when he got looked for over 70s life insurance. He got that fine, didn't you? Chuffing typical, that. Bless him. Right then, ladies and gents, so let's crack on with the scant little bit of Wednesday news we've got for this week, shall we? I mean, the main one is Fessi and his injury. He has Instagrammed various photographs of himself laid up. The original Instagram says picked up an injury last season, worst used in March, and then there's obviously a picture of him on a hospital bed somewhere in the world. But it's this picked up an injury last season bit. I mean, obviously we saw bits and bobs of Fessi last season, and we all knew that he wasn't playing as Fessi normally plays, if you like. But do you think this is the reason why? There's obviously without this injury, I didn't realise it was something this serious. Did you guys? Or
to be honest, no. We've covered the whole Fessi and team and everything, I think, already in a recent podcasts. But it's probably come at the right time. Would he have got in the team at the minute? That's the question.
If he wasn't injured, maybe that's the reason for his. Well, we've only got rumours about the attitude issues, haven't we? We don't know anything what's done. But if you're walking around with an injury for the last couple of months, then you might be a little bit not too pleased.
There could be a conspiracy theory in this one, but I'm not going to start with that.
I tell you what, right? If you're saying that, you could literally hit my leg with a hammer every morning. If I was earning 30 grand a week, I would not walk around with an attitude like, Rrr. I'd be happy. 30 grand a week.
Morning. Hammer
you earn that a year and you earn a good wage. I'm sorry. No, that is not an excuse for an attitude. If you've got that attitude, you've got... anyway, he's had his operation.
You go negative.
No, he's worn the same shorts for like the last few days because, to prove that he's still in the Sondico clan and all that crap. Because obviously he can't wear the new shorts, can he? He can't wear new ones. That's a different story. I don't know. Maybe he was just having his cortisone injections. He was getting on with things. And actually, Carlos has said during this period of whatever has happened, he has said to him, look, go and get your knee sorted, take some time out, come back a different person. And hopefully he will. I'm 100% behind him if he does come back like that. 100%.
Absolutely. It's one of those headaches that obviously Carlos now doesn't have to think about because it's, again, sort of settled the team slightly. Obviously, we heard the rumours, etc., all that nonsense has happened. But now, obviously, we're seeing Fletcher, we're seeing Hooper, and they are becoming somewhat of a strike force. It has been mentioned in various different media outlets that we have a proper sort of old school strike force, if you like, up front as well. And of course, it's settled everybody else throughout the team. The next interesting bit is when Hutch is going to come back, but obviously I believe you guys spoke about that when I wasn't here last week as well. So we'll see what happens there, because Dave Jones for me he's not a flashy player by any sense of the imagination, but he seems to get the job done, doesn't he? Is that just me and my blue-tinted spectacles, or do you guys agree?
I think he's done all right, to be fair to him. Again, he's one of those that I've not been his biggest fan, but he's proved himself. He's played well. I can't think of any major mistake that he's made, which is a good thing, because I could think of some beforehand. Probably 5, 6, 7 games ago last season, I could think of many mistakes. He hasn't made those. He obviously seems to be coming on better. And obviously you're going to miss Hutch, aren't you? Everyone's going to miss Hutch. He's a class player. But I think Mr. Lee being back makes life a lot easier because he is box to box, and Bannon's playing a lot deeper now because we've got no Hutch. I'd take him back tomorrow, don't get me wrong, and I think as soon as he is fit, I think Jones will have a job to do to keep his place in the team. But at the moment, I'm quite happy with it. I don't know what to do. I feel like I should go and look in my wardrobe and find no shirt and get angry again.
That's exactly what I do as well.
It is a bit odd that we've not got a great deal to moan about at the moment, isn't it? But I'm sure we'll find something by the time the podcast has done. But yes, I mean, obviously we do wish Fessi a full recovery and a speedy recovery as well, because he's Fessi, isn't he? He's part of our Wednesday club. He's made us all very, very happy at various different points, and we do want him back as soon as possible. Now, Vic, you mentioned just a moment or two ago about the kit. Now, there is a rumour circulating that this kit may be available on Sunday for some kind of match that's coming up.
Sorry,
is that not what you've heard, Rich, or is that just bumcum? Or
I've not heard anything. I just thought it was just a funny thing to hear. That was all. Just the kit was going to be available. You know,
just at all.
yeah. To be honest, yeah.
I mean,
I wouldn't be surprised when it turns up. To be fair, I just, we'll see it when we see it, I guess.
One thing that I've seen in that somebody tweeted,
we're nearly at the end of September though, and that is birthday season. So
is that birthday season?
Aren't we? Apparently so.
Birthday season. Yeah, that was fudge.
I didn't know there was such a thing as birthday season.
Apparently so. Yeah.
Do people sort of get amorous around about in February?
No, do you know? No, it's a December thing. Apparently, people have sex at Christmas and have babies in September, and we all poo-pooed fudge about this. But then there's been so many articles come out since, and it's like, stop proving Dan Fudge right. Like, what is wrong with these journalists?
People have birthdays every day of the year, though, don't they? Let's be honest. It was a crap fact.
But there is a boom in September. It's been proven. Fudge has sent us the articles daily in the group chat.
I don't read his shit. But it's like a Christmas shag. Is that what it is? It's like here we go. Make the most of it. This is it for the next 9 months.
It's Christmas shag. November. It's Valentine's Day shag, isn't it?
November. You're in February? Oh, you're talking about when they're born, right? I see what you're saying.
Bloody hell. 2 + 9.
Oh, you have a shag on Valentine's Day?
Not very often.
Yeah.
God, Lord, what's this podcast turned into? You know what? I've been away 2 weeks, and all of a sudden, it's just all gone to pot, ladies and gentlemen. I apologise for the lewd behaviour of my colleagues. It's not on. But yes, obviously, fingers crossed we shall see the kit. I mean, obviously, once we've got the home kit in, then we can start moaning about the away kit as well. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it, shall we?
And then the third kit, yeah.
Look at that third kit. Bloody hell, I forgot about that.
See, Vic, you were feeling lovely, weren't you? You were feeling absolutely marvellous, and we've ruined you.
I was in a right good mood tonight, you two. Bloody hell.
Although there was a wonderful tweet sent to Mr. Fudge throughout the week regarding the cycling kit is now available in the club shop. So if you're a cyclist, you can now get your Sheffield Wednesday cycling shirt at a snip at just £60. So I'm sure everybody will be flying down for their cycling shirts as well.
You want to meet in the queue tomorrow morning, Rich? About 8:30, yeah? Should we go get a cycling?
Oh, yeah, the queue of what? Cycling.
One thing
that's like exercise, that, and it's cycling. Is that
not necessarily.
I heard Lord H has a Fessi style bike. Is that right?
I enjoy being on my cycle. I must admit it. I don't get a great deal of exercise from it because it is an electric cycle. So I do pedal, but I don't have to pedal very hard.
You mean you've not got Jeeves pedaling it?
No, I just have Jeeves sort of running behind me.
Are you in a sidecar?
Just. I'm not, but I am going to damn well make sure that somebody invents a sidecar. That would be the funniest thing in the world: an electric bike and a sidecar. Oh, Victoria, that's hilarious. But yes, one slight little worry of mine is if the Sheffield Wednesday cycling shirt is going to be £60, do we think that the Sheffield Wednesday shirt is going to be, in the words of Brucey, higher or lower? Because it does look like it might have been expensive.
Much higher. I think when we went to the steering group, Mr. Chansiri was saying about how he's not dropping the prices for last season's shirt, and I found that out. I went in to go and buy the books the other week, and it came to a round up £70, and I thought, do you know what? If the old shirt's in, I'll buy that. If it's £30, round it up, fine, whatever. Still £55. And someone asked Mr. Chansiri at the steering group, and he was like, "No, I'm not lowering that. It's it's the right price. It's a good price." And we were all like, "Well, what's next season's price going to be then? If last season's shirts are still on sale for £55 and will be when the new ones are in, you're going to be talking 75 easily. Bet you."
For the want of not going back and talking about the kit, I think there's an opportunity for them to make good on it only being available for however long it's available for, with a price sensitive.
I must admit, I want it. I do want it, and I am tight about kits. I haven't bought one since fucking like Azerbaijan Land of Fire, and like I will buy this one. I will. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things, isn't it? We worry about the price of the kit when we're buying it, but then, I mean, I've got a drawer full of kits upstairs, literally a drawer full of kits upstairs. I couldn't tell you how much any of them cost, but I love them. I absolutely love my ridiculous.
You'd remember if it was 70-odd quid. You'd be like, nobody touched that. It's in a polystyrene packet.
I don't think I would.
Hands off.
I mean, I've been sending out a few little tweets of my loungewear, and obviously people have been commenting that old kits and
oh my god,
my Sheffield Wednesday loungewear.
I'd heard you got a dungeon full of outfits as well, or is it kits? Sorry,
I've got kits all over the place. I've been in my dungeon as well. But the stories that have been coming through about young lads doing. I apologise, I don't have the tweets in front of me, so I can't really get a bit of a shout out here. But one chap said he'd done his paper round and he'd saved up all his pocket money to buy his kit. He can't remember how much the kit was. That wasn't an issue. He's just remember saving up for his kit, buying his kit, and it's a treasured possession for a young boy.
Let's be honest as well. You've had longer to save, haven't you? You've had a month and a half longer. Stop bloody moaning.
Yeah, you'll be able to buy the home kit and the cycling shirt as well.
I just spent it on beer in the meantime, so that's I've drank my shirt.
One little interesting tweet, again, we'll get off the kits in a moment. I know it's a long, boring subject for a lot of people now, but I thought this was a very interesting point. Obviously, the life of this kit, if we are going to be changing kits every season, has been dramatically shortened. Is there an argument to have this kit for 2 seasons if we are paying top dollar for it?
It's the bloody anniversary kit. That would be like, no. Just get over it. It's going to be more money. We've just got to get on with it. We're all going to buy it. Let's be honest, apart from like James, who doesn't buy kits. But we're all going to go out and buy it. We've had an extra month and a half to save for it, which is very generous from the club, thinking about our finances. So, no, it doesn't matter. We can't keep it another year. That's just embarrassing. This is our 150th year. It's our 150th kit. Who knows? Next year we might even have pinstripes again.
Speaking of the club,
not a chance.
Speaking of the club looking after our finances, Victoria, I believe that you saw a wonderful little deal from the club last week as well, didn't you?
Oh, I did, and I missed this so much. So, as we like to do my club shop offer of the week,
we need a jingle. Hang on. Let's play the jingle. It'll have to do.
That'll do. That's fine. Just keep it for in future. So from the club shop, you can buy, I believe it was the pin badge for £3.50 and the keyring for £5 with the new badge on. Lovely, brilliant, 150th anniversary. Or you could buy the 2 in a box for £10. Now, you tell me, it's like not the most expensive cardboard box you've ever seen.
£2 box.
Unbelievable.
But it's not just any box, it's a 150th anniversary box.
It's not, it's a black cardboard box. You could get that off ASOS. I've got about 10 in cupboard. Like, I'm not being funny. Come round here, I'll sell them you for £1. You save yourself 50p. Like,
in 50 years'
they were
time,
underneath each other on the email, and it's just like, oh my god, who has listed these? Like, oh Jesus.
In 150 years' time, when someone has got both of those keyrings on Dickinson's Real Deal, and the expert says, well, if only you'd have had the box, it would have been worth £55,000. But as it is, it's worth 27p.
Exactly.
But no, top job, Sheffield Wednesday shop marketing team. I think you're doing a bang-up job. Let's just hope those Toby jugs are back in as well.
Whether you're celebrating a birthday, a wedding or anniversary, maybe you've passed your driving test, or you've landed a new job. Well, whatever your reason for a party, the Riverside Cafe is the perfect location on Catch Bar Lane overlooking Hillsborough Stadium. To inquire about hiring us for your function, call 07989 856 054 or 0114 232 6121.
Right then, ladies and gents, of course, it is the build-up to the Steel City Derby.
No, don't like it.
My first question is, have you guys missed this?
No, not in the slightest. We were walking up to the tram this morning, me and my other half, and we were like talking about it, and I was like, do you know what people always question? You know when you're going through a really bad patch and they go, well, why do you still go? I know you've paid for it, but it's not fun. It's like, no, it's not fun. I don't know why I go. And it's like the first 5-6 games of the season are fun, because it doesn't really matter, you know, you're just trying to get as many points as you can, you know, it's not the business end of the season and all that crap, you just get on with it. But then something like this comes along, and I'm not looking forward to it. I don't enjoy it. From the minute that whistle is blown to the minute it's blown again at 90 minutes, I will be a wreck. And I'm not anti-Blades in the slightest. I couldn't care less. I'm not bothered. But oh, no, I'm not arsed. It's like they can do what they want. They'd rather us be anti them, and they find that quite amusing. I'm not bothered. They can do exactly what they want. I don't care. But I just hate the build-up to it. And I hate every single day that I walk up to that tram, I have to walk past the sign saying, this Sunday, coming live to you at 1:15 p.m. And it's like, no!
Has Mr. Chancery employed the X Factor man just to stand out there when you walk past?
Yeah, every time he's like, Victoria, have you looked at this sign? Yes, I have. Go away.
Do you know what? It's just another game, isn't it?
No, it's chuffing, not just another game.
It's not, though, is it?
Why is it not?
I'll say that if we lose, Rich, or if we draw, I'll say it is, and that's all I'm very
blinkered about other teams these days. It's either Wednesday or my non-league team, and that's it. I don't, there's no second teams even. I just don't care. I don't care what anybody else does. I'm not interested in what anybody else does. I just want to see Wednesday win. Simple as that. I don't care who it is and who we play against.
See, maybe I'm being a bit nonchalant. Long-term listeners of the podcast will remember when I used to complain when we were in the league above them, or, you know, heaven forbid they were above us, and they used to flash the score up on the screen. They'd be like, well, that makes no difference to us whatsoever. What are you doing? Why are you playing that? But as it stands, we're both fighting for, you know, they have come up fighting. Let's be honest. They have come up with a proper battle on their hands, and they are going for it.
They've come up with beginner's luck. They've come up with beginner's luck, and it's starting to run out.
As it stands, you know, we're pretty much neck and neck. Or are they above us, I think, still?
Only just chuffing slightly. Yeah. But they've come up and they've put themselves all excited, that's all.
As it stands, as a game, whether we're playing Charlton, whether we're playing Tottenham, you know, whoever, whether it was Fleetwood Town, it as a points game, it does matter. But I'm more nervous about it just because I cannot be arsed with it. I can't be bothered with all the stick that comes alongside it. It's just pointless. I'm not that bothered about you, to be honest. You know, whatever.
But there's been a distinct lack of banter, I think, because of how probably close we are. There's been a distinct lack of it. I don't think anybody's kind of prepared to open themselves up to abuse or potentially a kicking on Sunday afternoon, let alone Monday morning. Verbally. I don't mean anything else by that. I think it's just very quiet at the minute. And I've had this conversation with a friend of mine who is a Blade. Well, I say it's a friend, but just somebody I know. And he's very much It's very much the same opinion, that it's very quiet at the minute.
Yeah, but it's the build-up now, so I've been planning, and I'm sure Twitter will explode towards towards Sunday. Obviously, when it comes to actual team itself, I mean, there is, and I do. I'm loath to say this because I just, like Vic says, I don't want it to come back and bite me on the arse. But there is a class difference between Sheffield Wednesday and Sheffield United at the moment in these teams. We've seen it the other way around. We've been on that sort of end where we know that they have better players than us. At the moment, we have better players than them. It is that simple. And Carlos has been involved in derby games. He knows what's what. Obviously, Benfica, Portugal, all that kind of thing. He understands the derby game. Do you think that's going to play into Carlos's viewing of the game, setting up the team, looking at the tactics? Obviously, he's going to mention the crowd and the noise and all that kind of thing. It's a derby game, it's a derby match. But do you think we're going to see a professional Sheffield Wednesday come out on that team, sticking to Carlos's game plan? Or do we think the baying crowd is going to get some?
No, 100% professional Sheffield Wednesday. I can't see it going any other way. And I think at the moment as well, with situations that have been happening at the other side of Sheffield, I think they've got to be ultra professional as well. And I think it's just, for the city, I do think, you know, both sides could either, fans and players could either play up and really, really show the city up, or could have a really bloody good game of football and both give it their all. And that's all I want to see. That's what I paid my money for. You know, it's like I said, you know, it's 3 points, but it's not the end of the world, 3 points. If we lose, we lose. If we win, we win. If we draw, we draw. But let's not go stupid. It just embarrasses everybody. And they're in a very, very, they're hanging on by a thread at the moment when it comes to like FA situations and whatever, as we've seen from their statement, my lord, that you retweeted. But I just, it's just a game, innit? It's a game. And it, by like 2 o'clock Sunday afternoon, it's done. So let's just get on with it. Let's just see what happens.
I don't expect that there'll be any trouble. I mean, that's the last thing anybody wants to see. Obviously, football fans, it's an early kickoff. It's one of those things that's always happened. We know how derby games work. We've been at derby games. I'm sure you guys have been at derby games where it is a pleasant experience. But obviously, when we all travelled down to Wembley, it was a nice day. There wasn't any trouble. This was a thing for the city as well, wasn't it? It's obviously, this city clearly is ours, but there is this hand-holding-ish type thing after the 90 minutes that we are all Sheffielders. Surely? Am I wrong?
No, 100%. You think, you know, it's the age-old story, isn't it? You take, you know, Sheffield United and Sheffield Wednesday, you put them in Manchester or whatever, and we're all Yorkshire, aren't we? You put Manchester and Sheffield in France, and we're all England, aren't we? And that's, at the end of the day, that's how it works, and that's how it's got to be. It's just don't let it get embarrassing. That's the main. Just don't embarrass people.
I think no, there's some truth. Somebody said to me the other week about the best derby and all that, and a conversation. And you look at a Liverpool derby, you know, a Liverpool Everton, and you see them sat at side of each other in the shirts in the stands. I don't think you could do that in Sheffield. I really don't. Put United fan at middle at Wednesday fans, or put a Wednesday fan at middle at United fans.
Yeah, we've seen it. I mean, I've been at Hillsborough when United fans have been escorted out of the North Stand, or I've been at Hillsborough when actually Nat fan got into the Kop and was wearing his United shirt underneath his jumper, if you like. And it's a stupid thing to do. And B, I mean, when it was going out, it was getting jeered at and all that kind of thing, but there was no violence or anything at all like that. And that's the bit of football that does my tits in. It really, really does. It's a game. It's a game we love. It's a game we're passionate about. It's a game that we scream about, we shout about. But when it comes to actual violence, it's frigging ridiculous. It really, really is. And you see all these absolute arseholes on both sides of the city, on social media and those sorts of things, and all the plans and all that kind of crap. And to me, I mean, they're not football fans in the slightest. They don't want to watch football at all. It might as well be you live on one street, I live on another. It might as well be you've got brown hair, you've got blonde hair. These people, it's nothing to do with football. They're just awful, nasty people. And for them, well, for me, they can just get out of football altogether. I do not care about that. I do like to have banter with the Sheffield United fans. I do quite often shoot myself in the foot by saying things like, we have clearly got a team a class above Sheffield United, and that generally comes to bite me back on the arse. But when it comes to the actual football itself, there is nothing better than a derby game, is there? There really is nothing from a fan's point of view better than a derby game. Now, from a player's point of view, I don't know what you guys think. I mean, a lot of these players have been involved in derby games before. This is not their first foray, obviously, but their first Sheffield derbies. But when it comes to actual derby games, obviously, Bluevens, Celtic, Rangers, I should imagine Butterfield, Derby, Forest, Reach, Borough.
Wallace? Bloody Wallace has racked them all up, hasn't he? I read that article with him. I was like, Jesus, how many derbies can someone play?
Yeah, he's done them all, hasn't he? Obviously, Fletcher will probably be in a very similar derby as well, playing Sunderland, Newcastle, etc., etc., etc. So these guys know what's what when it comes to derby game. These are seasoned professionals, a lot of these guys. But, I mean, do you think... We see it with our blue tinted spectacles, don't we? It's a Sheffield derby. It's massive. It's huge. And it's the first one for a while. And it's chuffing sexy, isn't it? Do you think the players feel this from a fan's point of view, or to them, is it just another game?
I think they'll feel it with the atmosphere. I think the atmosphere will be there. And I think that's how they'll feel it. Some of them might not, that haven't experienced it before, might get a shock when they walk out on Sunday afternoon.
Absolutely. I mean, we have literally seen Hillsborough moving under a full cop, haven't we? We've seen the stand actually physically moving. That's how you use the word literal, by the way, for anybody under the age of 16. Literally moving. So yes, it's going to be massive. It's going to be full. But as far as I'm aware, it's not actually sold out. There's still a couple of tickets left, isn't there? Which is a bit unusual to me. Is that strange? There's not many. I think
there's about 5, isn't there? There's not loads.
No, there's not. There's not like a stand empty. But usually these people are sort of tripping over themselves for these things.
I think there's 400 in the Lower West and a handful restricted views on the Cop.
Would you want to sit in the Lower West, though? Are you having a laugh?
No. Yeah, to be honest, again, it's one of those things. I mean, again, we've seen idiots on Twitter filling up bottles of whatever it is, but clearly it's just a picture that they found on the internet. To be honest, this kid that's living with his mum, if he's got bottles of wee in his bedroom, his mum's going to be very, very angry, blunt or not blunt. But it's just, I mean, yeah, they'll put this out there and it's all that nonsense again. But if they get caught doing anything like that, they're going to get into serious trouble for it. And yeah, they ain't got time to drink before the match. That's why it is where it is and all that kind of thing. But
well, that's like what I said. You know, the FA are on the backs anyway. They've got to, as a fan base themselves, they've got to be so careful. And if I was a genuine Blade, like one of my closest friends, Lauren, goes to every single Blades match, home and away, and I will listen to her talk about football, whatever, because I know she goes, and I'm quite happy to listen to banter and have a chat about stuff and whatever else, because she's in the same boat as me. She has been for the same amount of years, you know, that's what she does. But if I was someone like her, and I know this is what she's like, she wouldn't want anything like that at all, because to her football club at the moment, because of, and let's be honest, a very, very small minority of absolute idiots, are potentially going to cause major problems for Sheffield United. Major problems. And all eyes are going to be on them on Sunday, on both sides, but on Sheffield United as well, just because of the Middlesbrough stuff, the Norwich stuff, you know, eyes are going to be on them, and they've got to be so careful. And I hope that both sides listen to that and just realise, like I said, it's literally 22 men kicking around a pig's liver for 90 minutes. That's all it is. That's all it is. And that's what, you know, we've got to be as passionate as we possibly can be as fans of our teams. And, you know, both sides have been brought up as passionate fans, but we've got to remember that there's more to life than that. And there's more to, you know, if you love your club, is it worth getting in trouble for it? Or getting your club in trouble for it? You know, if you're not bothered about yourself, think about your football club.
Yeah, it's not just that. Can you imagine sort of rocking up to the gates of Hillsborough with a bag full of wheat and expecting just to be, oh yeah, he's just Tango, don't we?
It'll just be a Google image, though. That
it is, absolutely, of course honest. It is. But no, it made me laugh, bless them. I fancy putting nonsense out on Twitter. Who'll do something like that? Now, of course, looking back at the history of the derbies, I mean, again, I'm not going to bore you with all this kind of nonsense, but this is obviously getting up there now. Just looking on the Tinterweb now, games won for Sheffield Wednesday, 48. Games drawn, 44. Games lost, 48. We are tied at the moment, so this game is going to be the decider of overall bragging rights for our histories. Would you like to have a hazard a guess of the first year this game was played? I don't know if you guys are aware of this.
I am quite a geeky but I don't know the answer to this one. I'm quite a geek with football, but I don't know that one.
So I was going to say we're 1867, they're 1889.
How do you know when they were, Victoria? That's just a bit weird, that. Yeah.
Because my dad played for him, my lord. I've got to know it.
1891. But yeah, it's absolutely, I mean, the history here is incredible, isn't it? It really is. And that's what makes it so exciting. And speaking of that, I mean, you guys, what's your biggest memories of the derby?
I think for me, I've still got a scar on my knee and my friend Rory, who I've just been down in Reading with, who was getting married on Saturday, so congratulations to him. He remembers the story I told him about the Chris Waddle scar. So when at the Wembley semi-final, when Waddle scored, I jumped up, and the seat in front of me was a little worse for wear, wooden seats at that point, and I got a few screws sticking out, and I jumped up and took half my knee off on the seat in front. But what I made sure was I picked the scab so it scarred, and I still have that scar on the knee now. It's the Chris Waddle scar.
That's God, that's awful.
And no,
that's disgusting.
I've not shown him my scar at Hallam either. So
this is your fault.
I've never got that geeky yet. There'll be some time I get pissed up in it. Have you seen this? As I drop my trousers today. No!
For this. Right, you make any particular memories of the derby?
I remember all the big ones that I've been to. Didn't get to go to Wembley and whatever. But I do remember there was a Friday night, and it was back in the Jermaine Johnson. I only know that because I worked at the club at the time. I lent in my sat nav, and I still do not have that sat nav back, Jermaine Johnson. So you owe me a tom-tom, pal. But I remember it was Frank Songo was playing, and I got a ticket at the last minute because I don't think it was on TV, or I couldn't get to a TV that had it on, or something. My parents were away or something. And I remember I went and I sat in the Blades End. I had to sit down.
Couldn't do it.
Every goal.
Couldn't do it.
I just had to be so quiet. And to be fair, I got away with it. Like, no one caused me any trouble. It was fine. I went and got a brew, and, it was, but I remember it was a very, very cold Friday night. It was awful. But other than that, obviously, Mr. Tudgay, you've got to remember that, haven't you? In recent years, that has got to be one of the standout memories. I know we've been tweeting quite a lot from the TWW cast this week, but I think that goal for me stands out above the rest by a mile. That is just unbelievable. And obviously, Sheridans.
That's strange, that is one that completely and utterly slipped my mind. John Sheridan's first ever goal for Sheffield Wednesday. It's a brilliant goal. If you haven't seen it, please do just make it. Even if you don't follow us, just go and have a little look over there at the TWW Twitter feed, and just look at John Sheridan's first ever goal from Sheffield Wednesday. He takes it from the halfway line, runs all the way to the pitch, and scores. It's a brilliant goal. Why is that not as famous as the Tudgay goal or the Chris Waddle free kick or anything at all? I just don't understand. It's an amazing goal.
I do have another memory of I think it was probably the last one we played where we had a beanback at Hillsborough, the 2-2 game where Medine scored late on. And at the time, I was unfortunately, and I'm sorry for this, everybody, I was dating.
Oh, sorry, Rich, you're breaking
long,
up.
Story of my life not lasting long. But anyway, so I was sat. She was at the lane. I was at the beanback, and they went 1-0 up. I got a text just saying bingo. 2-0 up, I got another text, bingo. And I'm thinking, I'm going to keep my powder dry here. So literally, when Medine put that in the last minute and they blew the final whistle, I just sent a text back saying, house.
Love it, absolutely love it.
Perfect. Always keep, never start until a fat lady sings.
But we do want to hear your memories of the derby as well, because we've been putting this stuff out on Twitter. People have been sending some wonderful little tweets. I'm just looking at a few now. David Stoney Stone, obviously the John Sheridan goal we put out, he says it was his first ever derby, followed by his first ever pint as well. So little things like that I think is absolutely fantastic. There's been some Terry Curran stuff, and we was trying to look at the not so famous goals, if you like, the Terry Curran goal in the other derby that year at Bramall Lane. And there's also a cracking interview with Terry Curran on there as well. If you've never seen that before, please do have a little look at that. He is the original banter man, isn't he, Mr. Curran? It's hilarious. It's absolutely hilarious. He's basically just winding up Sheffield United players. It's brilliant. So please do go and have a little look over there. Obviously, coming on to Sunday itself, this is a big, juicy, chuffing game, isn't it? It really, really is. I am so looking forward to it. I'm going to say it now because I'm not scared of the blunts. I'm not scared of the fixture. And as Wednesday fans, we should be damn proud of our club and what we've done, especially over the last sort of 3 or 4 years. So I really, really, really am looking forward to this game, and I really, really, really want to put them back in their box.
Can I read out a list to you now, my lord, that you sent us the other day? Okay, ready? Stephen Bywater, Danny Bart, Lewis Buxton, Reader Johnson, Rob Jones, Jose Samido, Chris Lines, David Prutton, Michael Antonio, Ryan Lowe, Chris O'Grady. That was our last starting lineup. unbelievable, Jeff. I mean, look at that now. Look at that compared. And haven't they still got, is it Summit
I don't know. I don't follow them closely enough.
Still around? I mean,
I can't wait for the songs that are going to appear on that one.
We don't have any hint of that team anymore. Absolutely nothing. And it's just, that is a huge sign. And again, hats off to Mr. Chansiri, to Carlos, to Mr. Mandaric. That team is so far removed from what we are now. And I think, if anything, come what may at 2:00 on Sunday, come what may, look at that team that we had, or 2:30, whatever it'll be. Look at that team that we had and look at the team that we've got now. And that's what's, that is so important, to look at the progression for us ourselves as a football club. That was the starting lineup, and we were so excited about that lineup. Oh my God, Lowe's playing. That fucking Ryan Lowe, man. Jesus Christ, you could put me in now against Ryan Lowe.
Absolutely rude. I love Ryan Lowe. Absolutely rude.
I mean, come on, look at that for a contrast.
No, it's huge. I think the question and the reason that list was sent is because I think it was Fudge that said, has anybody in the team played in a Sheffield derby before? And I think the only person that probably has come anywhere close will be Liam Palmer, won't it? Obviously, Joel Wildsmith, various sort of youth levels and things like that. But it was so strange looking at that team and just thinking, I mean, I loved that football team. I really, really did. They got us promoted. It was marvellous. It was a wonderful, wonderful day, that game. It was brilliant, absolutely fantastic. But it is a completely different element altogether now to that last game that we played them. And just chuffing when you chuffers.
If we had time to obviously we don't have time to do it on the podcast, but if you get that list up on your phone at home, listening to this now, and read that list and go through and just do a comparison with who is in that position now in the squad, it's mind-blowing. It's really, unreal. Really is.
And do we think that Carlos is going to keep this team? I mean, obviously we'll try to do some sort of analysis and put our football heads on rather than our blue heart sort of pounding out of our chests when it comes to this game. But do you think we're going to see a similar sort of team? Do we think we're going to see an unchanged team?
I think so. I think it's the only kind of one I'd see, if he was fit, and I'm not sure he's going to be, is Hutch. This kind of game's made for Hutch, although probably made for a red card for Hutch. Yeah, exactly. But I think the side that's playing at the minute is kind of Dave Jones as a Wednesday fan stuck in there. He'll probably get it more than any of them will.
Absolutely.
Is he a Wednesday fan?
Dave Jones is, yeah.
I didn't know that. Honestly, I swear to God, I didn't know that. That's brilliant. I like him now.
Fletch won't be any shrinking violent. I don't think Barry Bannon will either. I think we've got the kind of right kind of side to be playing in teams. When we've played them in the past, we've had some. I go back to Chris Wood's days. You know what happened then. A lot of players that were a bit up themselves a little bit and weren't rough and ready to roll the sleeves up. But I think we've got players who now do roll the sleeves up. And I'll give it
one massive shout out I would like to say as well on the podcast is obviously we all talk about the goals and we all talk about everything else. And as you chaps know, I'm a bit of a keeper freak. I always have been. But as I've been looking back and we're sort of gathering these videos together that we've all been looking at on Twitter, the one sort of reoccurring theme throughout about 20 years worth of videos is Kevin Pressman. And the amount of incredible saves he's made in Steel City's derbies is unbelievable. There's a few out there on the Twitter feed now. There are many, many more to come and many, many more that I just haven't bothered with. But the amount of saves that Kevin Pressman and the amount of wonderful, beautiful football kits he's worn through these derbies as well is so impressive. And it just reminds you what a legend Kevin Pressman is of Sheffield Wednesday Football Club. It's ridiculous.
Never got a testimonial.
Absolutely ridiculous. It's one of those little things I always think that footballers like Kevin Pressman, like Kieran Lee, because they're not beautiful men. Do you think that's a possibility?
I'll have you know, Kieran Lee's quite an attractive young man.
He's no Hutch, is he?
Don't work for me.
He's no.
But you wouldn't go squiggly thought to Mr. Pressman, would you? And he's an incredible goalkeeper. He really is a brilliant keeper. And he's such. I mean, I think the first save I've found was from '89, and the last save was in the 2000s and things. And it's such a massive time span. He's played in so many. He probably, off the top of my head, played in more Steel City derbies than any other player, because he was obviously with us so long and been our first choice goalkeeper for such a long time. But yeah, massive shout out to Big KP, and again, keep a little eye out over there on the Twitter for his bits and bobs as well. But yes, go on Wednesday, Sunday, big game. Looking forward to it. I'm going to chuffing crush the dirty little chuffers as well. It's going to be marvellous. I hope. Right, then, ladies and gents, that's going to be us towards an end of this week's show. One little bit of exciting news we've got, though. Our friends over there at S6 Clothing have asked us to give them a little bit of a shout-out and offered a shirt for a TWWcast listener as well. If you're not aware of S6 Clothing, please do pop over and have a little look at their website. It is s6clothing.com. Sorry, I apologise, I forgot my lordliness. www.s6clothing.com. You can also find them over there on Twitter at S6Clothing, and I'm sure they're on Facebook as well. But what we're going to do, we're going to stick a little tweet out with the shirt that you can win from S6 Clothing. It's a cracking shirt as well. And if you retweet that shirt and follow S6 Clothing, we'll sort of stick you in a draw, and Vic will do one of a wonderful sort of... If they're listening to this, are probably following us already. If they're not, don't worry about it. Let them follow S6 Clothing. If they listen to actual podcasts, trust me, we've got far more followers on Twitter than we've got people listening to this podcast. So that won't be a problem. But yes, if you're following S6 Clothing, retweet it, and then Vic will do one of a wonderful little...
please do my Google thing again.
Random number research thing.
Random.
We'll pick somebody up from random who has followed S6, and we'll be checking as well. So this is a Twitter-only thing, unfortunately. But by all means, follow S6 Clothing, and we'll pop that little link out, get that retweeted, and hopefully you'll have a wonderful new shirt. The logo for S6 really is brilliant. It's an owl with S6 eyes. Best way I can describe it, really. It's a brilliant, run by a cracking set of chaps, and on there it says, "Buy Wednesdayites for Wednesdayites." Tagline of the season. Fantastic. So, Dickie, old Bean, if people want to get hold of you over there on the Twitterage, where can we do that, old boy?
Yeah, you can find me at Dickie Owl. I won't be tweeting too much about the derby until Sunday, probably, as I will be down the south again, drinking more alcohol at a wedding. But down that very south, yeah. Well, Worcester. It's not really south. It's more Midlands, isn't it? To be fair.
Taking some hendos.
It's south to us.
Show some proper sauce.
Oh, don't worry. There'll be some of that going. Don't worry. It's already being purchased.
Vic, my darling, if people want to get all of you over there on the Twitterage, where can we do that, sweetheart?
Just a quick shout out before we go offline. In that there is going to be a feature in the programme this weekend, in the 150-page programme. And there was a feature in the Star last week, and it's still online, about my amazing dad who has been battling prostate cancer this year, and his mate Gary, who is a blade and has had the same disease, and they've really become like the closest friends. They are each other's confidant through something that is a really taboo subject, and they've come out together, and they really want to do an article. Well, I've written it for them, we've put it out there. They really wanted to come out together and say, look, this is what you need to do. You need to get tested, you need to go for your everyman health checks, you need to do everything else to find out and to make sure that you are clear of prostate cancer. So please keep an eye out in the programme for that article. My dad is Bill Wood. He is lovely. He looks like me, but 65 with no hair. And they've done this article, and if you want to give any money to prostate cancer, you can do it at justgiving.com/TWWcast. We've had quite a few donations already, which has been amazing. There's no specific challenge on there as yet. I'm sure we'll all do something. We've been talking about playing foot golf for a long time, so maybe we'll do something with that, or who knows, we'll get James to shave his beard or something. But yeah, so please have a look at that programme. Just read the article. If anything, if you don't give a penny, please go to your doctor and just get checked up if you can. If you've got any symptoms that are listed in there, please go and do it. But if not, you can follow me at Victoria1867 on the Twitter.
And his mate. And if you are one of these idiots that are weaning bottles and all that kind of thing, read the article. Sit yourself down, go online, read this article, and see what it's like to be a proper football fan. Because if there's one thing that Bill Wood certainly is a proper football fan. So get yourself over there and read that as well.
He's that and an all-round legend.
And of course, if you want to get all my nonsense over there on the Twitter, you can do that at Lord H. That's L0_H or something. You get all of the podcast at TWWcast, and there will be a lot of Steel City Derby memories getting whipped out over there as well. So please do have a little look at those and send us yours. We do want to hear your Steel City Derby memories because they are chuffing brilliant. As long as they're lovely and not awfully nasty and violent, because we don't like that kind of thing. We just don't want it. It has been a pleasure, as always, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining us. Be good, be safe, come on Wednesday, and we'll see you real soon.